Snake, listen to me. She didn't betray the United States. No. Far from it. She was a hero who died for her country. She carried out her mission knowing full well what was going to happen. Self-sacrifice. Because that was her duty.
You are above even the boss. I hereby award you the title of Big Boss.
Oh my god, he was Big Boss! I didn't know! Well, okay, I did. Anyways, yeah, he's Big Boss.
You are a true patriot.
And your lips don't move. What the hell is he doing here?
In the army. Someone like him to handle our top secret sneaking missions for us. A man who combines the qualities of a soldier and an agent.
The boss's defection was a ruse set up by the US government. It was all a big drama staged by Washington so they could get their hands on the philosopher's legacy. And the boss was the star of the show. They planned it so that they could get the legacy that Colonel Volgin inherited and destroy the Shagohod at the same time. Only a legendary hero like the boss could have earned Volgin's trust. Finding out where the philosopher's legacy was hidden was to be her greatest mission. Everything was going according to plan. But then something happened that no one could have predicted. Colonel Volgin fired an American-made nuclear warhead at Sokolov's research facility. Khrushchev demanded that the US government provide proof that it wasn't involved. They couldn't just abort the operation to steal the legacy. So the operation itself was greatly expanded and revised. The authorities in Washington knew that in order to prove its innocence, they'd have to get rid of the boss. And that one of their own would have to do the job. The public couldn't be allowed to find out about it. Not ever. This, they concluded, would be the best way to keep the whole thing under wraps. The boss wouldn't be allowed to come back home alive. And she wouldn't be allowed to kill herself. Her life would be ended by her most beloved disciple. That was the way the government wanted it. That was the mission she was given. And she had no choice but to carry it out. Her death at your hands was a duty she had to fulfill. Out of duty, she turned her back on her own comrades. A lesser woman would have been crushed by such a burden. The taint of disgrace will follow her to her grave. Future generations will revile her. In America as a despicable traitor with no sense of honor. And in Russia as a monster who unleashed a nuclear catastrophe. She will go down in official history as a war criminal. And no one will ever understand her. That was her final mission. And like a true soldier, she saw it through to the end. But I think she wanted you, of all people, to know the truth. She wanted to live on in your memory. Not as a soldier, but as a woman. But she was forbidden to tell you herself. And that's why she told me. Snake, history will never know what she did. No one will ever learn the truth. Her story, her debriefing, will endure only in your heart. Everything she did for her country. She sacrificed her life and her honor for her native land. She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
Boom! Damn. Real impact, emotional. So the boss was never actually a traitor. She was a good woman who was really left with no choice. Eva disappeared in 60. Paramedic established first paramedic in Seattle, Washington. Major Zero disbanded Fox. Blah, blah, blah. Remaining legacy U.S. philosophers. Okay, so the Patriots became... Or, sorry, the philosophers became the Patriots. So those 12 members of the philosopher Patriots we heard in the last game were actually just the names of those to throw off the real Patriots, who I think we all might know very well. And in 1972, so Snake was born... Well, Solid Snake was born in 1972. So yeah, a lot has just gone on. First off, you might ask yourself, well, if Eva... By the way, this song is called Star Sailor. Or Way to Fall by Star Sailor. Check it out, listen to it, it's a really good song. Yeah, Eva had a fake copy. The boss gave her a fake copy, and then at the end you notice Snake had a copy. Yeah, so she had a fake copy and took it back, and well... Not too impressed with that part. Eva was actually sent in to be of the Chinese government to take everything away, as she pretty much said. She claimed the other agent, Adam didn't show up, but he actually did. Ocelot was Adam. Adameska, as you noticed in the final part there. Yeah, so Ocelot was actually the real double agent that was supposed to help him. And the boss was actually working as a triple agent, so no one was actually working for Vulcan. Everyone was like like some sort of double, triple, quadruple agent. No one was working for Vulcan at all. Yeah. Because Vulcan screwed everything up, the boss had no choice but to sacrifice everything she had built up over the years. Which is unfortunate. She was a good woman, and Snake had to bring her down. Because of all this, Snake was probably the only one... Snake and Vulcan are probably the only two that didn't know what the hell was going on. Well, we all know Vulcan was stupid. But, yeah. So basically, they got the inheritance in the microfilm. They took back a fake one to China, and so the U.S. now has the Philosopher's Legacy. The boss blew up the base there before you fought her, so nothing left of the Groznygrad. What else? Also, you'll notice that the boss said she gave birth in 1944, I think D-Day. Which would mean her child at that point would have been 20 years old? Around the same age as Ocelot, maybe? So yeah, there's a lot of speculation that Ocelot is actually the boss's son, which could explain his knack for picking things up. You notice he got really good with the revolver, then the motorcycle, and then the CQC at the end. Also, with that, keeping in mind that his father was also a spiritual medium, kind of explained how he was able to talk through Liquid's arm, or Liquid was able to talk through him, through his arm in the second game. But unfortunately, the fourth game kind of debunked that. In fact, the fourth game pretty much... the fourth game pretty much threw out all the supernatural aspects that happened up until this game. So all this supernatural crap in these first three games is pretty much thrown out in the fourth one. So like, oh, well, there's some technical... It's like they do a Scooby-Doo moment, where they have some sort of weird explanation for it. But yeah, there's a lot of debate. It's never been confirmed. Now with that at the end, you notice the Eva and Big Boss, Naked Snake, were sleeping together. I always figured that Eva gave birth to Solidus because Solidus was older. And, you know, I was assuming that she just got pregnant. So yeah, I figured that he was actually the true kid, but they did debunk that in the fourth game as well. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff going on in this game. This game is actually really good. One of my favorite for the PS. Well, 4 is my favorite right now, to be honest. They get better as they go. This one, really, really slow. If they had the ability to crouch walk like they did in the fourth game, this game would have been a lot better. Otherwise, you're spending the entire game crawling. So one of the reasons why I didn't play it on hard is because I would have to crawl the entire game. Because they pretty much can see you. And I have to constantly be changing my camo index. So, yeah. So it's a pretty fun game. A lot of crap went down, a lot of serious stuff, a lot of talk about your enemy being only your enemy, and an ally only being your ally during certain times. As your enemy can become your ally, and your ally can become an enemy at any time. Kind of what she was talking about, and her idea was she didn't want a world altogether. She just wanted that people didn't have to be enemies with each other over stupid reasons. She thought a soldier should be a soldier, not the idea of enemies and allies. But unfortunately, the Patriots, the people who took over the philosophers, kind of screwed that one up and ended up building more. Now you notice she was, the boss was talking about how the philosophers didn't exist anymore, and they were just a means of creating war from new wars and further wars. This is a concept that repeats itself in the fourth game, that basically what they're saying is war generates revenue, and by having more and more, by constantly keeping in a state of world war, whether it be cold or hot, revenue is generated. This revenue generates the philosophers, and the philosophers generate more wars. So the philosophers are literally, basically what they're saying is the philosophers are the same group of people just fighting with each other internally to constantly, perpetually generate income through war, is what they're saying. And this really does come up later on in the fourth game a lot more. But this is where the idea, I guess, kind of came from for Kojima. So yeah. To be honest, there's not a lot in the survival aspect, and the early part of this game is very, very, wow. The beginning of this game seems very, very linear, but the game really does open up.